Being called mother was a turning point for Marion. She never wanted the responsibilities of motherhood, but she enjoyed playing a new role. But this role brought its own tragedies. Marion had never really liked Louis' second son, Thorny, but when he returned from farming in Africa, ill and exhausted, she was shocked and moved by what she saw.
Along the side of a creek, formed
it was such a pitiable sight. My heart reached out to him. He'd lost all of 4 stones in weight. He was racked with terrible agony. It was unbearable to observe the poor boy trying to stand or walk, bent over in such pain that was etched on his face.
After a terrible decline, he was eventually diagnosed with tuberculosis of the spine. He died in Marion's arms, just 25 years old. Marion was grief-stricken.
His death seemed to be the beginning of our own. It seemed somehow to signify an end of things. This death has entered very deeply into me. I never before felt so keenly the wealth one possesses in any being to whose mind or body it is possible to minister comfort through love and care.
Marion was now one of the richest women in England. The great and the good worshipped at her feet. Charles Dickens and Robert Browning could be found at her famous Sunday parties. She also had a cult female following now. Women idolized her for giving them a voice in her work and for being a survivor herself. Edith Simcox, a respected feminist and trade unionist, became Marion's loyal friend.
My Madonna, my darling. No, Miss Simcox, compose yourself.
But there were limits to her friendship.
I don't care much for women. Yes, for the womanly ideal, but it is the intimacy and friendship of men that is more to me.
George Eliot, the writer, triumphed in a man's world. But Marianne Evans, the woman, didn't fight for women's causes. She believed that they should have the vote only if they were properly educated. If changes were to come, they would have to come slowly. Middlemarch, her most political novel, probes the moral dilemmas facing all Victorians, men and women, how to live a good life and what to believe. It's set in the time of social upheaval, leading to the Reform Act, which gave the vote to middle-class men.
Fellow citizens of Middlemarch, we have the chance to free ourselves from the crushing yoke of the past. And not by bloody revolution or by civil war, but peacefully, by humane reform. Is that not good news?
While she was writing Middlemarch, both she and Lewis were plagued by all manner of sinister ailments, but they took great comfort from each other.
Mens sana in corpore sano.
Most educated Victorians were concerned about the chronic health and social problems that surrounded them. Dorothea Brooke, Eliot's greatest heroine, dreams of building new housing for the poor of the parish, but she eventually resigns herself to more modest acts of kindness. Her heroism is on a human scale. She is caring and honest, which is all that most of us can be.
Try and give him some of that jelly. That room's so damp. I have spoken to Mr. Brooke about the roof, and I shall remind him again.
Thank you, Miss Brooke. It's very good of you.
Marian was touched by other great issues of the time. Anti-Semitism ran like a poison thread through the fabric of Victorian England and across Europe. Even Charles Dickens, when he created Fagin in Oliver Twist, fueled the common conception that Jews were not to be trusted. But blind prejudice of any kind pained Marianne. And what pained Marianne Evans, George Eliot recycled into her work. In her last novel, the hero, Daniel Deronda, is adopted and embarks on a quest to discover the truth about his origins. Marian was fascinated by the history of Judaism. She'd been studying Hebrew with a brilliant young scholar, Emanuel Deutsch. He was just 23 years old and dying of cancer.
Can anything be more disgusting than to hear supposedly educated people making small jokes about eating ham and showing themselves ignorant of the people they think themselves witty and insulting?
Deutsch inspired Marian to create the mysterious Jewish character Mordecai in Daniel Deronda.
I'm so glad you're here, Daniel. You see, I'm dying, but you have come in time.
I hope you're wrong about the gravity of your condition.
Never mind that. You're here. And you know that you've been sent here for a purpose. You've been chosen,
Chosen
Daniel.
by whom? For what?
By God. To be a leader of our people.
But I'm not a member of your race.
You are not sure of your own origin.
After the publication of Daniel Deronda, rumours about Lewis's Jewish origins, based entirely on prejudice and ignorance, were doing the rounds.
You've seen the waistcoats, of course. Just like Disraeli's. Two of a kind.
Never touches pork, I hear. I could never be accused of being prejudiced, except where it is justified, and I say that man embodies all that is bad in foreigners. And that is much.
But Marian's love for Lewis was untouched by the outside world. For 25 years, he had been her constant companion, her lover, her literary agent, and her defender. But now he was in constant pain and was becoming increasingly weak and gaunt. It was apparent to everyone that he was dying.
Nothing perishes, but it deserves to perish. Goethe.
Oh, of course.
On the 30th of November, 1878, George Henry Lewis died. Marian was devastated. For a week, she stayed in her room, reading poetry and the hundreds of condolence letters from writers and scholars all over the world. When she visited his grave, she lost herself in imaginary conversations with Lewis and swore that she saw his ghost.
My lost darling. I fear my everlasting winter has set in. I'm now a bruised creature and shrink from the tenderest touch. I am a perpetual mourner. She saw the years to come stretch out before her like an autumn afternoon filled with resigned memory. Life to her could never more have any eagerness. It was a solemn service of gratitude and patient effort. She walked in the presence of unseen witnesses, of the divine love that had rescued her, of the human love that waited for eternal repose.